Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the General Hospital recap for August 19th through 23rd, 2024. I don't think we received any emails this week for the Port Charles pipeline, but I do think that we should give a small reality check at the beginning just to update people on our respective surgeries. That way, if anyone's wondering, how did it go? Erica's went fine. She's recovering. She's in pain, but everything went well.
Good. I'm glad that
and they didn't have to. They thought they were going to have to repair the meniscus too, or possibly have to, and they didn't. So that was great. Yeah. Yes. It's going to take a lot less recovery time. So,
right.
How about you?
Megan's went well. Also, it was not successful because they didn't find what they thought they were going to find. But she is
yay.
Well from it. Yeah, I don't know. In one way, it's yay because that means that there wasn't an extra connection in her heart, which is like, yay, you don't want extra stuff in your heart that's not supposed to be there. But then it's also not yay because now we're stuck still with what's
the problem?
The heartbeat to be so fast. They're saying that it's just part of the whole POTS diagnosis, and so she should grow out of that. But that still means that she has years of just dealing with this. If she moves a certain way at a certain time, that she is a hot, sweaty mess because her body does not know how to regulate that.
Oh, well.
But I'm glad that the surgery is done. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I've said before, like, I feel like if I needed any type of surgery, like, I'm good with it, but don't touch my heart or my eyes. Like, those are the two things that I would like freak out about. So whenever they were discussing, like, oh, we're just going to put these catheters up to her heart, blah, 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 I was like, okay, stop. Like, I don't want to hear this.
Yeah. Like, nope, I trust you. You go do what you need to do, and
right.
We'll be good. I'm sorry to hear that. She at least now has a good team, though, it sounds like, that is at least...
Right. It's rolling out yet another thing, so that's what they just keep...
But at least she has, like, an in, so she can call and be like, hi, this is happening.
Yes, right.
So you don't have to start all over. But still, that's... Oh, geez, I'm so sorry.
Yep. She's a medical mystery.
Oh, yay. I'll be able to say I knew her when.
There you go.
She's in all the books. So then, in grand tradition, how about we just stop saying we're eventually going to get back to Bobby? It's just a blanket statement now. We will get Bobby in. We will get fan spotlights in. 2 in the same week.
Right. 2
in the same week. So we're doing the 411 about Rick Lansing. I knew that. See, here's the worst part. So, like, the worst part. I follow everyone on social media, and I happen to see Rick Hurst is actually who pretty much, like, really announced that he was coming back. And so I saw his video. Well, the same thing happened with Jonathan Jackson because I follow him as a fan of him. Like, I like his music. I like the messages that he brings to social media. So I pretty much always watch a video whenever he posts it.
Yep.
And because the only thing he has done on General Hospital in, like, the past, 15 years has been that little blurb that he came back for Luke.
Yep.
And it definitely sounded like he was just never coming back. I never in a million years would have thought.
No.
But then it's also something that was emailed to us.
Yes. But luckily you really couldn't miss that one because it was all over the place from him.
It was.
Stephen Bradford said something about it somewhere.
So I've not really listened to their show recently in, like, a while, just because there was someone that they did say. And I was like, no, I don't want to know.
Call them up and tell them. Quit spoiling things for us.
Like, you guys need to have a spoiler edition.
Yes. At least say spoiler alert before you tell us. So you couldn't miss that one, but I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean,
and Rick coming
makes
back
so much sense.
Yeah. Rick coming back, I don't know. I just don't I don't like him because of all the bad stuff that he's done. So whenever it was like, oh, he's coming back, I was like, no, we don't need him. Tell him to go away.
I think it's going to be interesting, and I have a few theories, so we will get to that when we talk about him. So yeah, this week we are going to discuss Rick Lansing. I only brought up the link that I shared with you yesterday between the surgery, getting my son ready for going to school, and everything else. I just didn't have time to piece all of the different resources together. So hopefully it is thorough.
I feel like it'll give us a good idea of who he is. Plus, we will remember some stuff. I'm sure it'll jog our memory.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, and if we miss anything, we just do like a edit or whatever. So, yeah. All right. Anything you can think of before we get to Hulu headlines?
Nope.
Okay. I will say, if we didn't know that Jonathan Jackson was coming back right before his reveal, we would have 100% known.
Yes.
That Lucky was coming back.
Yes.
Whether or not it's Jonathan Jackson is a whole other story.
Right.
But there was no getting around it.
Mm-hmm.
So, alrighty. On Monday, Laura is in for a shock. Dante gets alarming news. Jason confronts Anna. John goads Sonny. Alexis springs to action. On Tuesday, Sonny makes a promise to Kristina. Kevin and Laura strategize. John loses his cool. Dante opens up to Sam. Nina and Ava have an honest talk. On Wednesday, Trina challenges Ava. Alexis tries to keep the peace. Molly makes a shocking discovery. Sonny shares a theory with Jason. And Anna issues a warning. Thursday, Molly receives much-needed support. Aw! Sonny makes an offer to Ava. Jocelyn and Trina try to resolve their differences. Kristina goes too far, and Maxie questions Natalia. And then on Friday, Laura and Elizabeth commiserate. Dante confides in Chase. Lois is rattled. Molly makes a vow, and Sam is taken aback. I don't even really know where to start.
Can I start with Jagger? Because I'm just so this whole storyline is so dumb. So we had seen Jagger. Was that last week or the beginning of this week when he arrested Kristina? That was last week.
It was at the very end, but then they redid it. So it was like at the end of Friday, but then it was the reopening on Monday was
the
different camera angle arrest.
Yeah. All right. So he arrests Kristina. She's coming out of the hospital, still in her wheelchair, just recovering from everything. That is not Jagger. I don't care how much he wants to take Sonny down. He would never treat someone like that. And then he's only doing it to get to Sonny, obviously. So he brings her in and says that she hurt Ava, or she was trying to hurt Ava, and that is witness tampering and blah, 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 blah. And then later we see Sonny go to Ava, and he's like, listen, John's going to try to kill you because he wants it to be on me. So you need to not go with him. You need to come with me and I'll keep you protected, blah, 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 blah. Another agent comes in and is like, hey, no, Ava, let's go, whatever. And then John Jagger, whatever, starts spewing his crap about Karen again. Can we please have the ghost of Karen come back? We know Carrie's still acting. Can she please come back and be like, okay, listen, dude, I know that you have regrets for the fact that you cheated on me and ruined our marriage, but you need to quit holding grudges against everyone else that ever did me wrong. It was a gazillion years ago. I got over it when I was still alive. I'm definitely over it now that I'm dead.
Before they got married. Right. Before they got married, she was, I don't want to say she was over it, but she had moved on from it. Right. She was no longer, it's not like the way that they're making it sound is like, okay, Karen was a good girl. And yes, Sonny encouraged her to dance and he gave her something to help her loosen up. Still all wrong. The drug thing is all wrong, which we know is why Sonny does not deal in drugs. He learned his lesson from this.
Exactly.
But Karen was not married to Jagger and Sonny stole her and trafficked her. That's the way that they're making it sound, as though Sonny somehow became a cult leader and drugged her into dancing as an adult, as his wife. And that's why, no, that's not.
Right.
It's not how that happened.
Yeah, that's not why your marriage didn't work out, dude. Okay, that was all your fault. And
We've got like 411s around this whole different between Sonny in the 90s, or the rise of Sonny, Karen's pill addiction, which we specifically talked about,
right?
Jagger, and I think even when we did Sonny's businesses, didn't we just talk about the Paradise Lounge?
Yes.
And that probably was in there.
Right. So I'm begging Carrie to come back and talk some sense into Jagger, not Jagger, and tell him, please let this go, because you're gonna end up killed. Like, if Sonny was as bad as he was back in the 90s, you'd already be dead, dude. Already dead.
Yeah.
It's now that he's older, he can think through all the ramifications and all the different baby mamas that he's trying to not leave those children, and has Jason in his ear. If it would have been back then, you'd have been dead.
We have still not done just Karen.
Well, we can do that. You know, we can do that.
When her ghost comes back, we will.
There you go. Just please bring her ghost back to tell Sonny, because Sonny is starting to like wonder, like whenever he wasn't on his bipolar meds, he was like, oh, I'm a horrible person because I did all this bad stuff to Karen, blah, blah, blah. So we need Carrie to come back as Karen's ghost and say, listen, Sonny, do not feel bad. Like, we have moved past this. You are a better man now than you were then. You were young and stupid. We all were. It's okay. And to tell Jagger, like, listen, I forgive you for cheating on me. It's all in the past. Please stop trying to take revenge against Sonny for something that didn't even happen the way that you're portraying that it happened.
Yeah. Yep. And how does John... Okay, so first of all, John knows Sonny is an alleged mob boss. So there's already that threat. Even if Alexis had not recently had her license reinstated,
right,
he would have known that Alexis had been an attorney and therefore would probably have good access to it, to a good one. He has since learned that her sister works for the DA's office.
Right.
Do you think that you should definitely cross your T's and dot your I's on this one, dude?
Right.
Well, you need to make sure that you have super, super, super solid evidence before you arrest a woman who is leaving the hospital after having lost a baby.
Right. And you already went to court once saying, oh, I have this recording of Carly, and then you got there and you didn't have it. So you're just jeopardizing your job all over the place by continuing to bring these charges against people that you don't have the evidence to back up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I hope that Ava listens to Sonny and changes her story, because she's going to be in a bad spot if not. And I'm just tired of hearing Jagger talk about how he's doing all this to avenge Karen.
I know, seriously. Yeah. So then when Alexis tells him that she's going to be Kristina's attorney, the look on his face is like, what?
Right.
And even if, wow. Yep. So
right,
then,
even if it wasn't her, it would have been Diane, who is just as formidable. Like, you don't want to go up against these ladies.
Yeah.
Especially not with these made up charges.
No, I believed Sonny when he was talking to Ava about, I need to save you because he is going to kill you. I'm like, that makes so much sense, because he's also kind of starting to act like super erratic now.
Right.
So where was that? That was... Oh, I thought it was funny when Sonny was trying to explain to Kristina that this happened because Jagger is after him because of things he did in his past that he's not proud of. Honey, he knows, she knows what you do. Like, we've already established this recently.
Right. She just saw you beat up Dex. It's okay.
Yep. Oh, I did like that Molly jumped in a little bit. And she's like, this was a local incident, not a federal. He's like, yeah, so she was a federal witness in a RICO charges case. So therefore,
yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that makes sense.
And I did like that they were smart in that moment, that they did not have Molly go to court, because that would have been looking like a conflict.
Yep. When did Sonny? Oh, that was on Wednesday afternoon. Obviously on Wednesday afternoon, that's when the show airs. I meant, like, last thing that happened on Wednesday was that he said that he was there to save her life. And then it was Thursday where he told her that John was going to kill her. And it makes sense, because she was like, I don't believe you. Do you really think I'm that dumb? And he's like, think about it.
Right, exactly. I'm not calling you dumb. I'm calling John that awful.
Right. I did think it was funny when Ava was like, hey guys, keep cool. There's expensive art here. So
right. Please don't break my paintings.
But then the look on her face as she like turned to like kind of question, oh shoot, should I go with Sonny? And then she turns away and goes with Agent Boyle is the name of the new agent. So,
and I feel bad for that person because they're getting involved thinking, oh, Jagger has this real case or whatever. And then they're going to get yelled at too, because where did any of this even come from? It's all made up at the last minute. You don't have paperwork from months ago supporting that this is what you were doing because you weren't doing this.
Yep. So then when did we actually go to court? Well, Alexa said that she was going to be filing for, so hold on. Monday. Not there.
They must have gone to court.
Tuesday, Alexis told John that she was filing for an emergency hearing, and the judge denied the request to hold Kristina, but I guess I didn't write anything down for when she was in the interrogation room and they were talking with her. I don't think I wrote anything down for that.
Oh, okay. I mean, that was basically just her telling the same story to everyone and everyone basically saying, like, why does he even have you here? And Dante was being a good protective big brother and was like, well, you're not going to sleep downstairs in one of the cells. We'll keep you up here in the interrogation room until, we have to take you to court. And she was like, actually, I'm like sleepy, so I'd rather be in a cell with a bed than up here at the table and just a chair.
Yep.
So
yeah, the judge denied the request to hold Kristina, and John yelled, saying that she was making a huge mistake and that Sonny will have her out on a plane out of Port Charles. And the judge told him he has 24 hours or 48 hours to get his stuff together, or he'll be the one in a cell.
Exactly. Because again, they had no supporting evidence. That's what she asked for. She was like, let me see the case files where like this has been a case, an ongoing case, and that Ava was your witness and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, we don't have any of that together right now. What?
Right. And you can't, that's not how this works.
Right. You don't get to file charges and then build a case. You have to build the case first.
But then Dante went home and told Sam that Kristina had been arrested and then told her about Lulu. Oh, we didn't talk about Lulu yet. Hold on. Because Laura called Dante. When did Laura call Dante? Oh, that was last week, right? That was last week and then later in the week, right?
Right.
Okay. So
what I thought what we hadn't seen this week was whenever she went to visit Lulu and Cyrus was there. Didn't it stop last week whenever she walked in and was like, what the heck are you doing here? And we didn't know who that was? Or did we see that was Cyrus last week?
I don't think we saw anything with any of that last week.
No? Okay.
Maybe it was on the next week on General Hospital.
No, because I don't watch that.
I kind of missed that.
I thought that was Friday's cliffhanger, was that Laura walked in and yelled. Maybe that was, I don't know. All my weeks are running together. I'm sorry.
I know. But Laura was telling Anna, because she called Anna to see her, and she's like, you need to set up the search on Valentine. And then Jason went to the PCPD to see Anna. Anna asked Jason to come down. She had gone to see Sonny. That was last week. She had gone to see Sonny. Yeah. And then she said, I need you to come down to the station because something. But I don't know. Jason went down to the PCP to talk to Anna. She wasn't there. She was visiting with Laura. Dante was there. And I just thought it was funny that Jason goes over and like sits down next to Dante's desk and is like,
yep.
Bye.
What's up,
and they start talking about Danny's baseball game and everything. That was very nice. I just thought that was really sweet to see Jason. And I always feel like Dante has been such a good bonus dad, stepdad, because he didn't grow up with one. So it's not like he saw the good model of one. I mean, I'm not saying that you necessarily have to, but obviously it helps.
Right.
And he's just always been, maybe it's because he's always had so much family around him that he's like, there is way more than enough.
Yes.
Like it's okay if a bunch of people love the same kids.
Yep.
There's nothing, as long as they are being safe and not trying to hurt them.
Right.
So obviously he's had some issues with Jason's work in the past.
Yes. Yes. But I think he sees now also, Jason's grown up a lot and Jason wants
better. He's in his 50s. Sorry.
Sometimes even in their 50s, men still aren't grown up. So Jason's grown up a lot as far as putting his family first and not like keeping them on the back burner, acting like, oh, they'll be there. He's putting them first. And we see that in him saying like he only wants to be part of the coffee business. He's not He's not getting involved in the rest of it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what did that. Okay, that must have happened later because Anna had that conversation with Jason this week. But I always feel like Jason did always put the kids first. It was, he knew that they should not be in that life. So,
Right.
but he does tell, oh, that's when Dante got the call to go see Laura. And then Laura told him that she wasn't going to be able to come over for dinner that night because
Right.
there was something with Lulu. And then he left. And then Anna came, talked to Jason, and Jason tells her about Sonny's. I was right. Jason tells her about Sonny's meds being tampered with. And it all boils down to Anna.
Yep.
Being the one to blame. And he tells her that, Valentine is who's the one who messed with them. He needs to know where Valentine is. And she's fighting with him. She's like, you can't. And he's like, you need to quit protecting him. She's like, no, I need to find Charlotte for Laura. She's not really trying to protect as much Valentine right now as she is. She needs to get Charlotte for Laura.
Right.
So Jason says, okay, well, if you find her, are you going to warn Valentine? She didn't say no.
She didn't say no, but then she ended up giving Jason an ultimatum. You have to pick me or Sonny. You don't give Jason that ultimatum. He's going to pick Sonny.
But he had picked, and this is where she, because it was later on where Jason then went to tell Sonny that it was Valentine because he had found the pharmacist. Yes. He went and told Sonny that it was Valentine. And Sonny said about how they were going to get back at Valentine by using Anna as bait. And then sure enough, Anna shows up and says that, that's when Ava was down at the police station giving a statement that Kristina tried to kill her.
Right.
And that's when John was coaxing Ava. This is where he's getting evil. And I think this is where, wow, there's a lot that really goes in all together. So John tells Ava, basically, he really did threaten her. It was not maybe a threat, but forcefully suggested.
Right.
You are going to do exactly what I say. We are going to rehearse it. You are only going to say what I say you should say.
Right.
And that's it. And Anna picked up on it. And she's like, funny, never once in any of your previous statements did you say that Kristina tried to kill you or threatened to kill you. And of course, Ava gives the quick look up. And we all know that Ava did that on purpose. She's not stupid.
Right.
So as soon as that was over, Anna left to go talk to Sonny and be like, hey, just so you know, it's kind of escalated a little bit. Ava just gave the statement. Now Kristina might be charged with like attempted murder or whatever. And Sonny flips it around where his meds being messed up because the pharmacist told Jason that it was Valentine and it wasn't Ava. It wasn't like anyone else saying it.
Right.
And Sonny blamed Anna for what Valentine did and I was like, wow, that really did somehow all come back to her. And then she brings up Karen.
Yep.
And she says that he set it all in motion when he put Karen on that stage.
No.
And then that's when she asked Jason to come talk because Scott had been missing. And that's what Ava and John had told her was that the last person that saw Scott was Jason. And so he wasn't there to represent Ava in the interrogation room.
Right.
I did love Anna's timeline though. And she's like, yeah, it's been 24 hours. That's Scott's on time. How about you go check with Lucy, things like that.
Right.
But then Anna brought Jason into the interrogation room and starts asking about Scott. And he says that he has nothing to say without his attorney when she asks where he was the night before. And then that's when she starts saying, that you don't have to go back to Sonny. You were just doing this for how many months? You were only doing the coffee business. You were getting this other chance.
Right.
And she's like really laying into him. And then he fires right back and is like, you have done the same exact thing.
Yep. Remember that whole double agent newspaper article?
And she says, yes, I have, but you have a chance to get out.
Right. Yeah, I really do think she cares about him and doesn't want him making the same mistake.
Oh, yeah. Especially where for the first time in 30 years, it seems like he does have an out. Oh, I don't even know where that takes us, really. Right with that. Joss goes to see Trina at the gallery, and Trina thinks that Ava is going to get away with hurting Kristina. And, they get into like their first real fight. that Joss cannot believe that she still doesn't think that Ava's guilty, and they fight about how each of them feel about her. And Joss is like, here's the deal though. Like, you and I have been best friends since what, second grade?
Right.
You know, and yeah, they've had differences of opinions and things like that. She's like, but Ava constantly hurts people, you know, and I think Joss even said, you know, I'm not perfect. I've definitely hurt people, but I've learned from it, and I'm trying not to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Ava keeps doing it. And she's like, how many people does she have to hurt before you realize like she's not really a good friend to you? And then Ava comes in. By the way, I want Joss's purse. But Ava comes in. It was all butterflies. It was a black bag that had butterflies all over it. It's pretty.
Aww.
And Joss turns around and tells her, yeah, so we're going to the baby's funeral right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Trina looked her in the face and asked her, you know, you didn't say, because Ava told her something about Kristina tried to kill her. And she's like, yeah, you never told me that before.
Right.
And then she said something about how she was just giving a statement. And she said, oh, which one? The one where you were the victim or the perpetrator?
Mm-hmm.
And then Ava tells her that I really didn't mean to hurt Kristina, you know, but the FBI is making me do things that I really don't want to do right now.
Right. The situation is complicated.
And I actually don't not believe Ava on that. Like, I don't think that she's trying to manipulate Trina.
No, I don't think she's trying to manipulate Trina. I just wish that she would tell Trina the truth, because Trina can see right through her and is like, you're talking around the subject on purpose to not tell me what the truth is.
Yeah. To be fair, she might not really even know what the truth is right now, because she doesn't know what John's going to change it to tomorrow.
Right.
Because then, was it earlier in the week when Nina stopped by the gallery also? I think it was Monday when Nina, Monday or Tuesday? Oh, it was Tuesday. Nina went and was telling Ava that she could have that ad space for the artist that she was talking about.
Oh, right.
And Ava tells her, like, I think I made a really big mistake trying to protect Avery, and now it's kind of spiraling. And Ava kind of breaks down to Nina and says, you know, this is what happened, and now this is the pickle that I'm in. And, you know, Nina was like, well, why'd you hide his luggage? And she's like, because he's an FBI agent. I didn't need him being pulled into this if he didn't have to be.
Right.
So,
but
yeah.
Nina, without saying it so much, was kind of like, a woman fell through your window. How did you think they weren't going to check out the whole place? Like, yeah, don't move stuff.
Right. But then she does tell Ava that she's a good mom. And if she sees Scott, she'll tell him to call her. And they both apologize to each other for their friendship explosion. But then Nina was seen making a phone call to collect a favor. And I don't think we saw anything else about that the rest of the week.
Right. You just heard her say,
I need to collect a favor.
Yeah.
Who owes her a favor?
I don't know. I don't know
either. Oh, so do we just want to keep on, baby?
I guess so. God.
Well, first, this kind of ties Ava and the funeral. Is Jordan asked to talk to Molly, but they had like coffee outside, not at the courthouse, not at the precinct or anything, because Jordan questioned her and asked her what the heck she was thinking going to see Ava. And Molly said, I needed her to hear exactly what she did to my baby. And Jordan's like, so, but you asked for Dex to be a witness? That kind of gives the impression that you're there in a professional capacity. But thankfully, Robert knew that she was working out of grief, or acting out of grief. And so he allowed Jordan to talk to her as mother-in-law, not as deputy mayor. And then Molly starts to say that she doesn't think what happened to Kristina was actually Ava's fault. Molly says that she knows she didn't do anything on purpose, but she doesn't think that she's completely innocent.
Right.
But then on Tuesday, we see Molly and TJ talking. She went to see him at the hospital, and then he tells her about his confronting Ava. And then they just, no, I'm sorry. She apologizes. He in no way apologizes to her.
No.
He accepts, and he tells her that he loves her. But he never apologizes to her.
He never apologizes for anything.
No. She begs for his forgiveness. And she tells him, like, I've been too scared to handle this on my own. And I couldn't handle my grief and your grief. They are both. He's a doctor, for one. He should know that people handle grief differently.
Yep.
If they're so both surrounded by people in the medical profession and, therapeutic services and everything, they should both understand that they're both handling it a very different way. And neither way is wrong.
Right.
Molly was doing what she needed to, and TJ was doing and she couldn't be near the room.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that she didn't want to be there for her life partner, but she needed someone too, and she's done everything by herself.
Mm-hmm. When she should be leaning on Kristina if she's not going to lean on TJ.
Yeah.
I understand the grief that she must be feeling, but I don't understand how she can stand there and say, like, Kristina knew she was taking this risk. Kristina, that would be like saying Kristina was on her way to the Metro Court and got in a car accident and something happened, and someone saying, well, you knew there was a risk driving. Well, yeah,
right.
But you didn't think that was going to happen. Someone assuming that you knew you could fall out a window is even more far-fetched than saying you knew there was a possibility of getting in a car accident and you took that chance.
Right. And it was such a bad accident. And everyone, that's the thing. I don't think anyone actually thinks that Ava intentionally did it.
Mm-mm.
But everyone is definitely thinking, okay, but Ava, you caused this,
right.
And then all the lies afterwards have just not really helped much either. She would have just been, Ava is the perfect example of just tell the truth.
Yes. Because it would have made sense. If she would have left everything the way that it was and then just explained exactly what happened, it would have made sense. Because that is how it happened. And you can see it playing out that way. But when she throws stuff all over the room and is like, oh, Kristina came at me. No, that's not realistic. I don't know how Molly can even pretend to entertain that.
Yep.
As she's sitting there saying, Kristina protected my baby for all these months, and then the last 3 weeks she just like did whatever she wanted. No, you should know that that's not something she would do.
Oh, that comes later. That right up until this point, she's only really just telling people, I don't think that Kristina's as innocent as she thinks she is.
Right.
Because then I think it was the next day is when it was Wednesday that they were having the funeral, and they decided that
before that they were at Alexis's house, and Molly found the contract in Alexis's briefcase that Kristina was going to go for custody.
Well, that's because when John went to arrest her again, that's right.
Yeah, when John went to arrest Kristina again, Molly stepped out of the way.
But I don't think, well, no, because Alexis told Molly to get something. She said to get Kristina's.
Oh, the paperwork. Because John was saying, I interpreted it as I could pick her up whenever I feel like it. And Alexis was like, no, the paperwork says that you have to have just cause to pick her up, and you still don't have cause, and it's the baby's funeral. You're not taking my daughter. And he said, well, I disagree. And so she said, can you grab the terms of her release off my desk or out of my briefcase or whatever.
That did happen after we saw Molly and TJ getting ready, because she didn't leave until Stella, Curtis, Marshall, and Stella, Jordan, Curtis, and Marshall were there, because they all had their little, support together. And then Molly said, I need to go handle something. And everyone was like, do you need help? And she's like, no, I can go handle it. And then she went to see Alexis and Kristina. And that was after they had already because Alexis was talking to Kristina about attending the funeral at the same time that Molly and TJ were getting ready, and and all of his family was coming over. And Alexis is trying to talk to Kristina about, hey, you need to not tell them that any of this was going to happen. Right. The family doesn't need to hurt anymore.
Right.
And then that's when Molly went to see Alexis and Kristina so that she could talk to Kristina. And basically she told them about the name, because at the same time, TJ was telling his family about the name.
Yes.
And Kristina was surprised that they did it without her. And Molly said that it had to be done before the service. And Kristina's like, well, I should have been a part of this. And then they're arguing back and forth. And Molly's like, well, we're her parents. And Alexis is like, you guys have to stop this right now. You girls, you're both grieving differently. That's when John knocked. She told Molly to get something out of her briefcase, but we didn't see Molly actually pick up any papers. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to find that paper.
You saw her kind of hover over the briefcase. I don't know if you saw her with papers in her hand, but it was implied enough that she's found those papers.
Well, see, I thought it was, oh shoot, is she going to see? Are those papers stacked on top of each other? You know what I mean? Is she going to find them? Because then that's when they cut back to John does. So sorry, while we're still there, John does take Kristina, and he's like, if you don't come with me right now, you're all going to miss the service. So let's go. And then,
which is another not Jagger-like.
Right. And then at the apartment, TJ is telling them that Molly got the idea the other day or based on what Stella had been talking about a few days before about her sister and her strength, composure, and light. And every time that he looks at Stella, Marshall, and Curtis's eyes, their baby's name is Irene Marie.
Yes.
I think that is so sweet.
It was very sweet.
And then TJ kind of was watching their reactions, and I think that they were just also stunned. And he's like, "We can change it. We can change it."
Right.
And Marshall's like,
okay?
"Nope." Marshall's like, "Nope, nope, don't you dare." And Stella, gives him a big hug and is like, "Oh, the world, my Irene's taking care of your little Irene." And then she goes out into the hallway and breaks down.
Yes.
Oh, and then they all went to the chapel.
Yeah.
And where is it? So that was on Thursdays when they basically really had the service. Lindsay Hartley was temporarily playing Sam.
Yes.
Kristina gasped when she saw the little casket. And then TJ basically ditched Molly and went straight to his family the second that they arrived.
Yep.
Because he has nothing to apologize for. It's okay. He's also not making sure that his partner is being taken care of.
Right.
As much as she's not helping him, he's not helping her either. So.
Right. But he can never say he's sorry.
No. And then Molly looks to her family, and Kristina is kind of resting on Sam. She's obviously crying and everything. And so Molly goes outside and starts to cry, and then hears her name, and it's Dad. And she told him about how she feels so alone.
And he's like, "That's okay. I'm here for you," which makes it seem like he's always there for her. And he's not. He never is in Port Charles. So shut up.
Well, they kind of touched on that, though, because he said, "Alexis and I agreed that I should be here." So something tells me that based on that phrase, because it was kind of mentioned a couple times. Oh, she even said it. "I know that Port Charles is a difficult place for you to be."
Too bad. Suck it up, Buttercup. Your daughter lives here.
But is it similar to Jason, where maybe he's made those phone calls and it's, "Yeah, you probably shouldn't come, but thanks for the phone call," something like that. But then while she was outside, Kristina, Dante, and Michael were up at the casket, and she was saying about how Molly and TJ named the baby, but she was calling her Adela after Sonny's mom.
Right.
And then why did we even have Portia at all this week? Jordan and Curtis are talking, and she just comes over. "I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry for your loss."
Right.
You could have come over to your husband and stood there and let them finish the conversation.
Yep.
She knows that you're sorry. You don't really have to say it sometimes.
Right.
And you don't have to interrupt their conversation to tell her either. She did that again later on with something else, where she just kind of barged in and blurted out something. And I'm like, there was nothing for you to do with that. Oh, but then we learned that Alexis told Sam that Sonny was not going to be going to the funeral.
Right. Right. Out of respect for Molly. And then Sam's like, "Well, I wish you would have come for Kristina." And it was like, yeah, but you obviously can't be in one place and not be in one place.
Right. And then Rick walked in with Molly. I don't understand why they were all on different sides.
Right? It was like they were automatically trying to put Kristina against Molly, which at that point she hadn't talked about seeing that paper. So shouldn't they be sitting in the same pew, crying together?
Well, no, Molly may have seen it. That's the thing.
Molly had seen it, but she hadn't said anything about it yet. So wouldn't you think that Kristina would just sit next to her sister?
Not after the name thing.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But don't you think Alexis would have been trying to get everyone together?
Both daughters, yeah.
Well, and not for nothing, this is definitely a conversation that should have been had before the funeral.
You're right.
It's horrible the whole way around. So then, just as the minister is finishing up, he announces Jordan's going to give a reading, and Kristina stands up and shares, he said something about that her life was over before it started, but, she felt everything for 8 months, and she knows what kind of food she liked. She knows what kind of music she liked, I think, that she picked, all that. She loved walks in the park, and I don't feel like she was doing it in a way to take away from Molly and TJ. I definitely feel like she was trying to say it in a, yes, but guess what? There are things that we know about her.
Right.
Stella came up and said, "I'm so glad that we know that she was loved and that she was cared for, and that she felt your love." That was
right. She was thanking everyone for allowing this baby to make such an impact on their lives.
Mm-hmm. And then as they're getting ready to leave, Kristina breaks down. How, and Molly and TJ roll their eyes at her. How can they expect her to not feel anything?
Right. Like it would be worrisome if your sister, not just your surrogate, but your sister carried this baby who, whether it was biologically connected to her or not, is her niece or nephew, to carry this baby and have no feeling towards it.
Right.
Like, I understand, if you're a surrogate, you can't get too attached because you have to give it up the baby at the end to its parents, and that has to be devastating and whatever. But if you're so uncaring that you can carry the baby for 9 months and just be like, here you go, I have no emotional connection to this thing at all, that's a problem.
Right. Well, and surrogates have the mindset that they're going to give a baby, not lose the baby.
Right.
Exactly. So, I mean, I feel like any surrogate, like if you go back to your car accident, if a surrogate was in a car accident for a family that she's not biologically related to, you think that she wouldn't be devastated?
Right. Exactly. And especially in Kristina's case, because it is her, we've now found out, niece, she was expecting to get to see that little girl grow up, not as her mom, but as her aunt. And so, yeah, like you would be devastated even if Molly had been carrying the baby and the same thing had happened to Molly and Molly lost the baby. Kristina would be upset and traumatized by the fact that her niece passed away. So, of course, she would be traumatized by the fact that her niece that she was carrying passed away.
Right.
But then this one was hard, too. Willow said that she couldn't go to the burial. And so Michael suggested that they go to see Jonah instead. And then Joss and Trina made up. But then we see Willow and Michael talking about their past experiences, and Willow, saying that even like you said, knowing she was giving the baby up, but it still made the service difficult. And it's been how many years since Willow did that, and it still hurt her. That's never going to go away.
Yeah.
And then Michael said, I know when I thought that my son had died, I was feeling these things. And then he's like, you can tell me anything. And I mean, he just dragged on with the stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, Michael, Jonah liked Mozart.
Because I think she was going to tell him about Drew. And it was like, please don't tell him about Drew right now.
Oh, we were definitely supposed to be thinking that that's when she was going to tell him.
Right. And even as she went to say it, I was like, look, I'm not objecting to you telling him, but please don't tell him now. Like, this is the worst time ever.
There really is a time and a place for everything.
Right. Exactly. Sitting at your baby's grave is not the place.
But then at the gravesite, everyone is placing flowers on the baby's grave. And TJ and Molly put down a teddy bear, and he says, Daddy loves you. And she says, Mommy loves you too. And then we see Alexis and Sam went together. Kristina was last.
Yes.
Which also, why wouldn't TJ and Molly wait to go last and make sure that everyone else had gone before they did? Like, it's almost like they're setting that up for her. I mean, I don't think that they intentionally did it to set her up, but and she said that she loved her sweet Adela, and Molly overheard her. And that's when it all came out.
Right.
And that's when Molly started telling her, all you had to do was wait 3 weeks. What were you thinking going over there? And she's like, she was basically telling Kristina, like we just talked about, you shouldn't be so attached.
Right.
And Kristina's like, I carried her in my body. And even when Kristina said, I know you don't understand that, I don't think she was saying that as a haha, I can have a baby, you can't.
Right.
It was
you just haven't. Even if Molly could have a baby and just hadn't yet, it would be you haven't had that experience yet. Like, it's not me throwing it up in your face that hasn't happened. It's me just telling you don't understand, because you don't.
Well, I mean, I've said it to you. I'm like, I never had a miscarriage. I can't even imagine, like, and I'm not going to try to, but that doesn't make it me. I mean, obviously you're sadder, but like, it doesn't make me not sad for you that, you're even going through that. It's called empathy.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You can care about the fact that other people are hurting in ways that you've never experienced.
Right.
And it's still valid.
Right.
People are allowed to have different experiences than you. Imagine that.
No, and I know that Molly's grieving in her own way, and I'm not trying to discount that at all. But I just feel like I don't understand how you're being so nasty to your sister when she literally would have never done any of this if it wasn't for you. Like, I feel like Kristina could turn around and blame it all on Molly and be like, well, it's actually all your fault, because if you could get pregnant, then I wouldn't have had to have been the surrogate, and then this wouldn't have happened, blah, 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 blah.
That'd have been horrible.
It would have been horrible, but it would have been just as absurd as all the stuff that Molly is saying to Kristina. Like, I'm sorry, but when you go to argue with someone in a hotel suite, you do not expect that it's going to end up with you falling out the window.
Right. Yeah.
I've argued with people in hotel rooms before. I have never fallen out a window.
But yeah, I mean, they said some really nasty stuff to each other.
Right. And then Rick's like, come on, Molly, let me take you home. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving without TJ. And you saw TJ for a second look like maybe he was actually showing concern, because Kristina was like down on the ground crying hysterically. And then
I had a note about that because TJ actually, for once, because when Molly first told him earlier in the week that she thought that perhaps Kristina was not as innocent as she thought, TJ kind of questioned her.
Right.
And he's like, you really think? And it's kind of like what we're talking about. She didn't go thinking. She's been around Ava and fought with Ava how many times? It's not like this was a new experience, and every single time someone fights with Ava, they get hurt.
Right.
You know, it's not uncommon, but it's not all the time.
Right.
But so yeah, like TJ saw Kristina like not breathing and asked if she was okay.
But you like thought he was going to be like, maybe she should go to the hospital. Like, she's having a really bad panic attack, blah, blah, blah. And instead Molly's like, I'm not leaving without TJ. And he gets up like, oh, okay, I'm disgusted that Kristina is so upset. And they hold hands and walk off together.
Yeah. But the look on Rick's face, he had tears in his eyes, and he kept looking back at Kristina.
Yeah.
So I think I can't figure out how this is going to go, because Molly said something. This is when we find out that Molly had the paper, and she's like, well, you were planning on taking my child.
Yeah. And Kristina's like, yes, I was.
Exactly. So do you think that we're going to wind up in court with Alexis versus Rick, daughter versus daughter?
But for what?
I don't know, but do you think that's going to happen?
I mean, sure. I'm sure that they're going to try to play it like that, because why wouldn't they try to put them on opposite sides again? And then they're going to end up having some spark, and then they're going to end up hooking up again.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
That's the way it always goes. But like, what are we fighting about?
You can leave the courtroom and the bedroom separate.
No, Alexis and Rick cannot. But what are we fighting about? We knew from the beginning, this was Alexis's whole point. We knew from the beginning that Molly had no rights to that baby until after the baby was born, and it could legally be adopted by Molly after Kristina terminated her rights. Kristina did not terminate her rights because the baby hadn't been born yet. And so she was totally within her legal rights to decide to keep the baby. So what are we suing for? You didn't break the contract.
And that's the other thing, is we've actually already had this conversation of Kristina was worried that TJ and Molly were breaking up. And so she wanted to make sure that Molly was protected. The way that she was to do that is by having custody of the child.
Right.
So I don't know. That was just something that popped in my head. I was like, oh, are we going to have...
I mean, I definitely feel like they will, just because that's like the drama that they create. But I just don't like, I will be interested to see what charges are actually being filed, because Kristina was in her rights to keep the baby. She was correct in not terminating the rights, because if she would have, the baby would have completely been TJ's. So what are we arguing?
Manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that unintentional, but knowingly put into a dangerous position?
Yeah.
Like manslaughter.
Yeah, right.
The unlawful killing of a human being without maliciousness. That's going to get disgusting.
Exactly.
And what's Sam going to do? What are Sam and Dante going to do? Like, that's...
Right. No, I'll be so angry. And then we see Kristina after that, or not Kristina, sorry, Molly after that at TJ's family's house. And Rick shows up and they step outside, and she says, I know everyone's going to expect me to just forgive and forget and move on, but like, I can't forgive her.
That's fair.
Excuse me. Right. It was
Right
completely
now,
fair.
absolutely.
But you cannot forgive someone and not sue them for manslaughter too.
Yes,
So
that is
I'm
true.
really hoping, I'm hoping, as much as I do not want to see Alexis and Rick back together, that they take it the other way and show them like chatting about, we need to find a way to get these girls to move past this, and to see that at the end of the day they are both sisters, and this happened, a tragic thing, but neither one of them were to blame or at fault. It was just
Right.
a freak accident.
Well, and we're kind of going, I feel like this is why Rick is going to have compassion for Kristina, is because he has his own story.
Right.
So this is where I think that I'm hoping that I'm wrong, that it's not going to wind up being,
I'll be so mad because that'll just be gross. It'll be so gross. I cannot sit through that trial. I'll be fast forward.
Who's Diane? Oh, Diane would go with probably Kristina, because that's Sonny and Alexis.
Right.
Or Diane would just say, nope, you guys figure this one out on your own.
Right. Maybe she can be the one that tries to convince them, like, let's not do this.
See, and that's the thing. I don't think that Alexis will let it go. You know what? Maybe I like your way of thinking, that Alexis and Rick will team up and really try to connect the two of them and be like, Molly, listen, there's zero way that your sister intentionally did it, because Kristina kept saying, I was protecting my family. And she's like, you were supposed to be protecting my daughter, who is also Kristina's family. So I get that.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a mess. I hate that we're here. I hate that.
I just don't know how they can even possibly consider it manslaughter. Like, manslaughter is that you didn't have the intent to kill someone, but at the same time, like, you had to have been doing something that you knew could cause that, like drunk driving or whatever. It's not like Kristina, like, when jumping into a shark tank and was like, oh, I didn't realize that a shark could bite me and I'd lose the baby or something. She went to argue with someone in a hotel room.
But she went to argue with someone who she knows is a murderer.
But even
that's where I think they're going to get it from, is it's not like she went to talk to Joss and they got into their little rift or whatever, and that happened.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't have any prior experience of violence or difficulties with Joss to that degree.
Right.
But she does with Ava, and her family does with Ava. So that's where I'm putting on my lawyer hat. Should she have been able to assume, it would not have been out of the question for things to get violent.
Well, I'm going to be on Alexis's side, helping her to defend Kristina.
I am too. I'm just looking at it. I have this problem where I can see both sides.
Yes, but no. Like, again, I can understand all of Molly's grief and even her saying the hateful things that she said right now, but I don't understand how she would hold on to it so much that they could end up in court accusing her of manslaughter. That's just crazy.
Right. Because she has to know, at the end of the day, there is no way that her sister would have put her daughter in harm's way.
Right.
We'll just see what happens, I guess. Okay. I think that's it for all of that, right?
Yeah. We probably spent too much time on it. It just makes me so mad.
No, I understand. So then, okay, transition. Dante gets a text from Laura.
Yes.
That Lulu's been moved to GH.
Yes. Because she's having liver issues.
Yes. That's what we saw on Monday or Tuesday when it was Tuesday. Laura arrived at Silverwater and saw Cyrus at Lulu's bedside. So we found out that Cyrus visits her 2 to 3 days a week among other patients, and he reads the Bible to them.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the fact that the doctor was still running labs, but called her in. Like, how about you call them in after the results are in?
Yes.
But so Kevin arrives, and Laura shares all the dark thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her to hang on to the hope and to him.
Yes. They're such a cute couple.
They are. And then, her liver is compromised. And if it keeps continuing the way that it is, she'll die.
Can you give a coma patient a liver transplant?
I was literally thinking that. I doubt it.
Okay.
Oh, let's go to Google. I would say maybe if it had been initially.
Okay.
But where it's been 4 years.
3.5.
3.5. It'll be 4 years in November.
Well, Laura said 3.5 this week.
Patient receive an organ. No.
No.
Organs can only be considered for donation after. Oh, hold it. No, a comatose patient cannot receive an organ transplant. A coma is okay, but then it talks about what is considered donation. I'm still going to go with no.
Okay.
But also they cannot donate.
Okay.
Okay. There's like a lot of information on it, but I'm
right.
thinking
that would make sense. I just wasn't sure.
But then that's what Laura let Dante know, and then Dante told Sam and Rocco separately.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that Rocco reads her invader horoscope.
Yes.
But that he's worried about missing her or not being able to remember her voice.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he listens to it. I get that.
Yeah.
But then Dante calls Maxie and tells her that...
Oh, he didn't call. He went to the set of Home and Heart.
Oh, yes. And he tells her that Lulu is at GH. And then we find out why Lulu has beautiful nails, and it absolutely makes sense.
Yep.
To whoever is listening, seriously, you've been listening now for over 5 years. Just call us, please, because we obviously have great ideas. One of which I am taking absolutely full credit that we have a strong influence on its creation. So, Maxie was visiting her and was like, I know that you and Dante were over, but I know that you were planning on telling him that you loved him.
Yeah.
So you need to come back for him too.
I'm just sad that we know things that we shouldn't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice to see Maxie do her nails, and then Dante walked in right as she was kind of like, oh, and for Dante, and then it was like, oh, awkward.
And that was right after he had just told Chase about his difficult feelings, and Chase was like, I feel like that's a normal thing.
Right.
You were married and you have a kid together, and they weren't together when she got in the coma.
No.
But that's because he was still going through all that stuff.
Right. He made her divorce him because he was still going through all of his deprogramming for the WSB.
Yeah. So, I mean, he has to know that she never stopped loving him.
Right. But on the other hand, he's a man, so he may not get it because he was like, well, she had moved on with Dustin until he got killed in that explosion.
Right.
Men are clueless.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I think obviously Sam understands where Dante is because she's had to go through this now how many times with Jason.
Right. It's perfectly normal, baby partner, to come back years later. It's okay.
Except for at least Dante knew that she was alive.
Right.
Whether or not she's going to come out of it is a whole other thing. But Cody and Sasha finally got together.
Mm-hmm.
And Tracy and Violet were going to ride horses. Oh my gosh, how cute are they together, though?
It was adorable.
And they can't find Cody?
Yeah, she's like, why were you and Sasha taking a nap in the middle of the day?
No. It was, why do old people take naps in the middle of the day? I did like Tracy, though, because she really could have been like way, way, way over the top. But she's like, there are children running all over this place all day. And you know for a fact that Leo does not knock.
Exactly.
So it's not even they'll be fine. It was a no. Apparently there have been times where Leo has just decided to come visit him. And obviously James has too, so.
Right.
But she kind of like left it at that. Like, be smarter, dude. But then Cody tells Tracy that Mac admitted that he was his son, and Tracy's happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had to go do their horse riding.
Yes. And then we see James later ask him why Mac was so mad at him. And he's like, I didn't give him all the information or something like that. And so that was really cute too. And he got him a hat that looks just like his.
I know. Or it was so sweet when he was like, you can tell me anything you want to. Now that I'm officially your uncle.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for him. Well, and that's what James is like, I felt really bad when I lied to Mom about brushing my teeth and I didn't wet the toothbrush.
Oh.
And then Cody pulled the uncle move and was like, oh, dude, this is how you should have gotten away with it.
Right.
And I think one more thing, and then we can get to deception. Brad's back too. So actually, we had 3 reappearances.
Yes, I was so happy. I was so happy to see him asking for not for his job back, but for a better job in the lab. And at first, Teri's like, no, we're not doing that. You've already done all these bad things, blah, blah, blah. And then he pulled the Brit card and was like, this is what Brit was working towards. I need you to see if you can help me. And so then she like totally melted and was like, okay, you're right. I'll have to talk to everybody.
Yeah. I did like that his, what was it? His way of trying to convince her was, listen, if I was bad at what I did, no one would have asked me or blackmailed me to do things for them.
Right.
She's like, I don't think you're understanding that that's not a good thing, you know? But he did say, he's like, I'm not completely innocent, but I was great at my job.
Right. I promise not to do it again.
And then we have the Home and Heart show, and Lois is so nervous. And she overhears someone saying that her voice is grating and annoying, and it gives him a headache.
Yeah.
I love Lois. I'm not saying that person was right or wrong, but do you think that's really the first time she's ever heard that in her life?
Right. I don't know why Lois was so upset by it. I don't know why that woman was so unprofessional that she would say that on set. Like, at least wait till later in the day after they've left and then be like, oh, I'm so glad that they're not here anymore.
Right. Like as they're cleaning up the makeup brushes or like putting things away. Yeah.
Exactly.
You still shouldn't say that, but yeah.
Right. You shouldn't talk bad about people no matter what. But if you're going to, at least be smart enough and kind enough to not do it where they're going to hear you. When it's something like that they can't change. Like,
right.
You know, so, and then whenever they're on the air, someone calls in and says something nasty also about how she needs to polish her voice, blah, blah, blah. And I just felt like, why are we bringing this up now? Lois is a grown woman who's had this accent for her entire life and has not held her back from anything that she's ever wanted to do. Why does it matter now? And she just sounded ridiculous when she was trying to talk like Tracy. She just sounded wrong. So, like, embrace
I did think that was funny, though. But
it was funny, but it just sounded wrong. She needs to embrace, just like she would tell Brooklyn if she said, oh, somebody made fun of my voice. She would be like, honey, that's just part of your character, like who you are.
Well, she asked Brooklyn.
Right. Like,
you know, is there anything, or she tells her about that, and she's like, is there something wrong with me? And she's like, are you kidding me? Like, what? Basically, like you're saying, like, this is who you are.
Right.
You know, but then she goes and breaks the nail. And then Tracy has a good point when she's talking to Maxie. And Maxie's like, she's a pro. She's done all these things. She's done PR. And Tracy's like, but TV's different.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Lois freezes. But Haven was so sweet.
She was, which was so nice because she's such a jerk usually.
I feel like she's a jerk when it's something that's avoidable.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's right. She intentionally did that to Sasha.
Yeah, she was a jerk to Sasha.
Never mind. I retract that. Well, maybe she learned her lesson then.
I hope so.
So, oh no, she didn't do that to Sasha. Who did that to Sasha?
Yeah, she did it. She was part of it.
In order to, well, no, because someone did it to her to get her to lose her mind.
That was
playing the.
Yeah, that was Haven.
But why did she do that to her?
Because she didn't like Lucy. She wanted the deception numbers to drop.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, I know that there's something there. So, but Haven has obviously learned her lesson and kind of guided Lois with, well, here's my own experience, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And then she finally opens up and is able to start, you know, being more comfortable talking about it. And we see very prominently displayed multiple times all over. And if it had not been sent to me, I would have 100% checked out the website because we all know that I do.
Yes.
And it's a live website. It is a live website. You can buy the Deceptor. You can buy purses.
Yes.
I may have already ordered something.
Did you?
I did because I have a red light therapy, but it's awkward. And with my weight loss, I'm starting, I told JD the other day, like I moved my leg. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting elephant skin, even though, I mean, I'm trying to tone, but it's just not keeping up. And so I'm like, well, I can get my firming creams and I can get my serums and I'm going to use the red light therapy because of how big the thing is. The one that I have right now is definitely just for your face.
Oh,
And I
okay.
have a red light mask that changes. Well, I have a light therapy mask that changes colors. Well, I can't put that on my thigh, but this I can.
All right. Well, you'll have to tell me how it works because that's what I wanted. I was trying to convince Ryan that we should buy it. And he was like, shut up. You just want it because it's General Hospital. And I was like, no, I want it because it's cool and it's General Hospital.
It is both for me. And I ordered one of the purses.
Oh, geez. You were all kind of on it.
Yeah. I actually like all of them, but the one that is named after Maxie is like a
That
cute
was
little.
cute. Yes.
And it's only $31.
That was super cute.
Dear shophomeandheart.com people, can we just get like a promotional code that we will totally pitch this for you?
Right.
But yeah, and it comes
Pretty
in
sure-
lilac.
Pretty sure we pitched this for you before it was even a thing.
Yep. I do like the fact, well, I mean, these bags are K. Carroll handbags. So, I mean, they're already a brand. But the bag that I ordered for $31 is $45 on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Love saving money.
And it says that it should ship by the 28th. So, we'll see.
I'm excited.
I really like, which bag was it? I think it was either Brooklyn or Jordan. Jordan's bag is huge.
Some people like
And
those
honestly,
bag type ones.
but it only snaps.
Oh,
And I think so does the Brooklyn. And for me, I need something that fully shuts.
yes. Yes, I agree. A snap is not enough.
But yes, ships by August 28th. So we'll see.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And then, but it was a successful show. All in all, but their numbers were the highest.
Yep. Highest numbers ever.
And Natalia told Maxie that she is absolutely the one who runs that company, that she is not going to step on her toes, that she is just going to help her. And I
Yes.
liked that.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
The random guy throwing around the musty old cell.
Oh, God!
I think you're forgetting one little thing here. Oh, which I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Lucky to be back. And it was obviously like very much foreshadowed by Laura continually talking about how
we didn't talk about Laura and Liz talking, but
yes, how she misses her kids and she wishes she knew where Lucky was. And then we see this guy being tossed around this cell or this like dungeon looking thing. And then they finally take the bag off of his head and it's Lucky. And then it ended.
Well, we saw it. Didn't it open with him being walked in? So
yes,
this is one of the spoilers I saw. And the worst part is that I had seen that Friday was going to be his debut, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it until Thursday. So I was kind of even more bummed out because I almost made it.
Right.
But so I text my family. Oh, I'm using my phone for Zoom. Mm-hmm. I text them and said, for the next 45 minutes, I'm going back to the time that made me start watching General Hospital or something like that. I was like, so leave me alone. And with his first steps, I went, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, what did I say? Hold it, because the windows were open because it's been cooler here.
Yes.
And so Erica was downstairs, but had the door open, like the screen open. Yeah. And then I yelled right out the gate because the first thing they showed was his feet.
Yes.
Or I said, I'm pretty sure they just showed his feet. I mean, I knew it was his feet, but
Yeah.
And then we see him getting roughed up a little bit later. And then at the very end, yes, got slammed up against the wall and the hood taken off. That's the same cell that Jason was in and Dante, right?
Yep.
So isn't that Cassadine Island?
Yep.
So
something with the Cassadines or WSB because they were using.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, we're gonna not a clue where this is going.
Yeah, that was the part I didn't like that like totally gave it away was that there was no other context other than seeing this guy being dragged around. So it was like, of course that's Lucky.
Right. Especially like you said earlier, there was zero way.
Like if they would have done it right after they did when they were talking about finding Valentine, then maybe for a second you could have been like, oh, is that Valentine? Like somebody captured him, blah, blah, blah. And instead it was like, nope, that's definitely Lucky.
Yep. So Jonathan Jackson posted on his Instagram, Lucky is back on General Hospital today. Exciting things to come. Much love. And he is standing in front of a poster from 1993 it's an all black background and it says Luke and Laura in blue, but then it has their silhouettes kind of looks like a beigeish and they're running. And it says Luke and Laura return to General Hospital beginning October 29th. And I know that date is the date in 1993 that Lucky debuted. So he is standing in front of the poster it would have been leading up to. No one even knew that he was coming.
Right.
But it would have been the poster announced the return of Luke and Laura, which then brought him.
Yeah.
So that's pretty darn cool that they did
cool.
that. And we've already talked about the reason that I know that date for certain is not a good reason because it's the day after my friend died. So it's like, that is just kind of ingrained there. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I wasn't paying attention then.
Yeah.
But God, he's a beautiful man.
Ryan went to walk right in front of the TV as that was happening. And I was like, move. I've been waiting for this for 15 years. And he was like, really 15 years? And I was like, yes, actually 15 years.
Yeah. If I didn't already like country, I definitely would have still watched Nashville just for him. It just helped that I already liked country.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Gets us into the reality check. Reality check that we are old.
There is that. What'd you have go on?
Last weekend was Madeline's first game for her to cheer at, and that was fun. She's looking way too old, and it's making me very sad. But their team won, and that was fun or whatever. And then I wasn't here the morning for her to go back to school because that was Megan's surgery day. So Emily and Ryan both made a big to-do about it and took a bunch of pictures of her and all that stuff. So that was cute. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of taking care of Megan and trying to keep Madeline on some type of schedule because back to school is hard after summer.
Yep.
So how about you? Playing nurse also?
Yep. Erica had her surgery on Tuesday. She and I are just a good time anywhere we go. So there's that. We're making everyone laugh. It was just, obviously it was not fun or funny, but we make light of things just to get through it. Yay, trauma response. So I was actually able to get some work done though. And I had a training that I still participated in. And just overall, she's doing really, really well. There was no blood clots, so we don't have to worry about that. They didn't have to do as much repair as they thought. All of her ligaments are healing nicely on their own. So yay.
Oh, good.
And then just trying to fit in work in between everything and getting my son ready to go back to college yesterday for his senior year, which I cried way more yesterday than I did the day I dropped him off. And then my daughter goes back tomorrow, and tomorrow is his first day of classes for his senior year, and tomorrow is her first day of school for her last year at her school. So I'm going to be a hot mess for the next 8 months. And that's just going to be that. So yeah, just a lot. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I am rewarding myself tomorrow with a massage and a facial on their first day. So I will be unplugged for an hour and a half.
Sounds good.
Yay. But yeah, so I don't know. Other than that, join us on Thursday as we as we talk about, I guess we are recapping Rick Lansing.
What a jerk he is. Have a good week.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.